The world's most successful and best-selling soprano is bringing her exquisite voice to Tampa Bay. But first, Sarah Brightman joins us today. Welcome to our show, Sarah. How are you?
I'm very well. And how are you, Natalie?
I am doing well. Thank you so much. Glad you're joining us. And I think the safest place to begin here, new album, new world tour, and go. You are one busy lady.
I really am. But you know what? I find it a real privilege to do what I do. It's gorgeous because I get to go down around North America and South America and the rest of the globe, to China, to Japan, everywhere. And you know, it's always a delight for me because I go from city to city, to country, to continent to continent. And I understand all these different cultures, these different foods, I meet friends. So I feel it's hard work, but I love it. I feel very privileged.
Well, I can just tell in your voice that you really mean that. And when it comes to your show, I know you're trying to treat your audience to something a little special. It's not just a typical show when people get to see you on stage. Can you explain?
Well, I know fans often say, oh, they expect the unexpected from me. And I never calculate that really. It really comes from the songs I'm singing and the idea I have for the album right from the start. And this particular tour, or this particular concert, I'm going to put in two halves. The first half being the more retrospective, all my hits that people know me from the past. And then the second half will be more of the newer songs, the songs from him. In the first half, it's going to be like people are coming to the opera. I've set it in scenes, and there's beautiful runway gowns I'm wearing that have been made to be more theatrical. I have dancers, I have huge choir, all sort of like choreographed in there, and it's set in beautiful scenes like you would see at the opera. And then the second half is much more, it's much more as you would see the normal concert. There's a big choir just standing behind me, there's the orchestra on stage, there's the band on stage, and me coming out in the middle and singing the newer songs that I have from him. And the whole concert is bathed in beautiful light because the album is about light and hope. So that's what I've done with this, and I hope people who care to come will enjoy themselves.
And I want to bring up the record hymn. This is your first one in almost 5 years since your international chart topper, Dream Chaser. What can people expect with this album? I mean, how do you keep, I don't want to say reinventing yourself, but bettering yourself and doing more with your talents?
Well, usually I find for me, albums and the idea of and the theme of the album come out of what has been happening in my life and the journey in my life. And I mean, this particular one came out of a time. I'd been in the Russian space program for quite a while in Russia, and I came out of that, and I needed time to sort of reflect and ground myself from the experience I'd just been through. And I went to a beach, I went to a hot country. I invited a friend of mine who's from the opera to work with me on my voice, and my producer called one day and he said, Sarah, you know, I think it's time that you need to start recording again. You've calmed down. And he said, what do you want to do? You've obviously been enlightened by the situation you've been in. I said, you know what? I want to do songs which are full of hope and full of joy and full of light. And also a piece of work which makes me feel safe and familiar. And I want to, you know, and remind me of, you know, when I was singing in my church when I was younger. And I want to work with many, many voices, choirs. And he went, that's a great idea, let's start. So we did all this research in songs, pop songs, dance songs, classical songs, opera songs that sounded good with choir. And we ended up with this beautiful album called Hymn. And that was how it started.
Well, you are full of light, just talking with you. And you know what the best news is? That we get to share with our viewers at home that you're going to be coming to the Tampa Bay area in February, which is great news from everybody. Thank you for joining us today, Sarah. We look forward to seeing you February 19th. You're going to be performing at the Mahaffey Theater. Of course, you can get tickets online. And until then, Sarah, keep up the good work. And thank you again for your time today.
Thank you, Natalie. Lovely talking to you.